I picked up a true heiress at the dump. The system told me to raise her, scold her every day, and bully her to build her resilient character. I nodded viciously. That's easy. I hate kids the most. 16 years later, I bumped into her biological family looking for her at the school gates. I was wearing flip-flops, holding 2 cheap sausage skewers. Her parents drove a luxury car, holding 16 gifts, one for every year from age 1 to 16. The man looked me up and down. All these years, thanks for your hard work. The fake heiress nestled against the man, looking timidly at the true heiress. Sister, please don't drive me away. The true heiress gave them a weird look, then ran straight toward me, snatching the sausage skewer from my hand. Dad, you're eating this again? When I found the true heiress by the dumpster, she was barely a month old. She was so frail, and even her cries were as weak as a dying kitten's. But the moment I picked her up, she stopped crying. Those big, round eyes stared at me, suddenly curving into little crescents. I frowned, scoffing coldly. Don't think you can charm me. I'm only raising you for the money. The system was speechless. Then why are you pinching her cheeks? I quickly pulled my hand back. Damn it, I got charmed. I quickly regained my senses. Upholding the principles of evil parenting, I bought the cheapest baby formula in the store, but she didn't seem to like it. Her little nose wrinkled, her eyes full of grievance. So picky, drink it or starve. But she just babbled, reaching out her tiny hand to grab my index finger and shake it. Early the next morning, I took on an extra part-time job and bought better-tasting formula that night, right? If she doesn't drink good formula, she won't grow. If she doesn't grow, how am I supposed to trade her for money? When sleeping at night, she was unusually quiet. I tossed and turned, checking her breathing every minute, even searching online. Is it normal for babies not to cry? Until my 6th check, I finally woke her up. What are you doing? I'm just making sure she doesn't die. When the little one grew to a healthy 3-year-old, our sedity in a reverses vade har and rever free. I could finally unleash my evil nature. Starting today, I pinched her chubby little cheeks, whispering like a demon, you will tie your own shoelaces. Perhaps due to genetics, the true heiress was very smart. She quickly learned to tie her shoes, sleep by herself, eat by herself, and even wash her own socks. What kind of abuse is this? You don't get it. My plan has just begun. Next, I'll make her learn to mop, cook, and do all the dirty, tiring chores. I'll turn her into my slave. Now that's the right direction. What I didn't expect was, the true heiress was incredibly obedient. She did whatever I told her to, but as her strictest father, I couldn't allow a single mistake. So, when she knocked over the mop bucket, I crossed my arms and scolded her harshly. You're so clumsy. Your real parents are going to despise you in the future. Tears welled up in her eyes, and she ran into her room crying. I quickly followed and pressed my ear against the door. The crying inside grew softer and softer. I was burning with anxiety. What do I do? Did she cry herself to fainting? It can't be that exaggerated, right? You're right. I'll wait another 5 minutes. That's more like it. 4 minutes. 3 minutes. 1 minute. Forget it. I'll just go look. Before I even finished speaking, I had already pushed the door open. When I went in, the true heiress was leaning over her desk, drawing. I scooped her up in my arms, keeping a straight face as I explained, I was just talking nonsense earlier. You're so cute. Your parents won't despise you. Dad. The drawing showed 2 figures, one big, one small. I don't want anyone else. I just want Dad. I fell silent. Dad, don't cry. I'm not crying. Later, I realized scolding didn't work on her. Instead, it just made me tear up every time. So, I changed my tactics. I bought literacy picture books and ruthlessly taught her how to read. What's this about? You don't get it. I'm going to crush her with studying. The first day, I taught her you, me, he, she. The second day, I taught her love, hate, like, dislike. I love Dad. I love Dad. By the third day, she had mastered it. Chirping like a little chick, she chased me around saying, I love Dad. I love Dad. Blushing, I angrily threw the picture book down. Damn it, this is useless. Before she started elementary school, I had to register her household status. That's when I realized I hadn't given her a name. I'd just been calling her little one. This is a crucial moment. You need to give her a name she'll never forget for the rest of her life. Make her suffer and struggle. I suggest naming her Jowdy, bring a brother. A universally hated name like that. I thought about it thoughtfully all night. The next day, I confidently registered her and bragged to the system. I took your advice. I gave her a name she's going to hate. You've finally seen the light. From now on, your name is Lu Jiu. Ah, I laughed triumphantly. Ha ha ha. The little one hates rainy days, so I named her Jiu, knowing rain. She's going to be so mad. Dad, thank you for letting me take your last name. Wait, something's not right. Once she started elementary school, I ordered her to study hard. Lu Jiu obediently agreed and became much more mature. She no longer ran around yelling, I love Dad all day. As soon as she got home, she did chores and homework and made my bed before going to sleep. See? We've definitely grown distant. This proves my evil parenting plan is progressing perfectly, but I couldn't help sneaking into her room to check on her. After school the next day, she walked over with 2 sausage skewers. Where did you get the money? Didn't Dad secretly put it in my backpack? I accidentally dropped it in there. Then Dad was also careless the day before yesterday, and last week, and last month too. Besides, this is junk food. Who told you to eat this? Unher icher Chase. I devoured the sausages in a few bites. 2 hours after getting home, I carried a plate of homemade sausages into her room. See this? This is what you call healthy. Lu Ziyu didn't say a word, but her eyes sparkled as she ate every last bite of the sausages. What are you doing now? What do you know? I'm just making her be my poison tester. I left the room completely satisfied. Lu Ziyu was very smart. She got perfect scores almost every time. Finally, during her 3rd grade final exams, she only scored a 98 inches English. How could you be so careless? Why did you lose those 2 points? I'm sorry, Dad. I'll be more careful next time. Lu Ziyu lowered her head, admitting her mistake, and quietly went into her room. Ah, this is great. Before the system could finish, I was already staring at Lu Ziyu's back, silently shedding tears. Oh God, what have I done? You didn't even do anything. A few minutes later, Lu Ziyu came to the kitchen to cook and saw me squatting in the corner, crying. I immediately stood up and wiped my face. Dad, you're crying again. I'm not crying. The cooking smoke got in my eyes. Dad, I'll get a perfect score next time. What do you know? I know Dad loves me very much. I stiffened, then secretly wrapped my arm around her shoulder. Weren't you going to teach her a lesson? Shut up. This is called playing the pig to eat the tiger. Once she trusts me completely, I'll hurt her ruthlessly. But I waited for a long, long time, and that opportunity never came. Instead, I got a Lu Ziyu who came home crying. It had been a long, long time since I last saw Lu Ziyu cry. She slumped over the desk as soon as she got home. Xiao Yu, what's wrong? Hell, Dad. Did someone bully you? I paced around anxiously. After much coaxing, she finally cried and poured her heart out. They said I'm not Dad's biological child. Is that all? I breathed a sigh of relief. Yeah, I picked you up by the dumpster. Lu Ziyu froze. Really? Yeah, I was completely honest. I used to tell her all the time that she was picked up from the trash, but she never thought it was actually true. Her lips quivered, about to cry again. So what? Lu Ziyu's brain overloaded, and she stopped crying. Am I good to you? Yes. Then haven't I raised you all these years? Yes. Does you not being my biological child change anything about our lives right now? Lu Ziyu thought hard for a long time. No. Then there you go. This was supposed to be a difficult question to answer, one that could inflict severe emotional trauma on the true heiress. Mind your own business. I have my own rhythm. The next day at school, those annoying boys mocked her again for being picked out of the trash. So what? Lu Xiaohao, your clothes are filthy. Your parents don't even teach you how to wash them. They definitely don't love you. Zhu Dabao, you rank dead last every time and your parents don't even care. They've definitely given up on you. Song Yaozu, you eat junk food every day, and your parents don't stop you. They definitely don't care about your health. The 3 boys looked at each other, their faces turning red. Well, you're still picked out of the trash. So what? My dad loves me. What do I have to be afraid of? Lu Ziyu and I's days went on like this, day by day. With her outstanding grades, she got into the best middle school in the city. For high school, I happily moved us into an apartment near her school. When Lu Ziyu found out the rent was expensive, she volunteered to work part-time as a tutor. But I panicked. No way. Why not? Tutoring will affect your studies. If you don't get into a good college, you won't be able to make money to support me. Makes sense. I breathed a sigh of relief, but then worried she might actually take it to heart and drop out to work and support me. I can support you for a few more years, no problem. This is called a long-term investment. Ziyu smiled. Thank you, Dad. I pulled out a new backpack and tossed it to her. Here, found it on the street. Dad, I can still use my old backpack. Just use it when I tell you to. Stop talking so much. Lu Ziyu took the backpack with a smile. Before leaving for school, she poked her head back in. Dad, I want to eat sausage skewers. Got it. That evening, I waited early at the school gates with the sausages, ready to pick her up. A ridiculously expensive-looking luxury car pulled up to the school gates. Under the surprised and envious gazes of the other parents, 4 people stepped out. The couple in front looked very well maintained, dripping in jewels and designer clothes. The other 2 seemed to be a brother and sister. The sister clutched her brother's shirt corner, looking nervous. The brother looked around in disgust, as if it were beneath him to stand with people like us. The system, silent for a long time, suddenly came online. The Shu family is here to pick up the true heiress. I froze in place. The system had told me that when I raised Lu Ziyu to 16, her biological parents would come for her. But I didn't expect this day to come so suddenly. I instinctively wanted to step forward, but I looked down at my outfit, wearing flip-flops, a 30 yuan t-shirt, hair a bit messy, holding 2 cheap sausage skewers. A stark contrast to Lu Ziyu's family. I pursed my lips and didn't move. 2 minutes later, school let out. Lu Ziyu stood at the front of the crowd, her hair tied in a neat, high ponytail. Her uniform sleeves were rolled up, revealing her toned forearms. She looked like she had something happy to share with me, her eyes sparkling, as she eagerly scanned the crowd. She knew I would definitely come pick her up, but I couldn't help shrinking back behind the crowd. Before Lu Ziyu could find me, the Shu family spotted her first. They seemed to have investigated her beforehand and knew what she looked like. Mrs. Shu stepped forward first, calling out to her softly with teary eyes. "Ah, is it you? Excuse me, ma'am, you've got the wrong person." Mr. Shu followed closely behind, looking Lu Ziyu up and down. As he explained, "I am Shu Jiming of the Shu Group. Your name is Shu Anan. You are our biological daughter. We're here today to take you home." People around began to stare. Lu Ziyu took a deep breath and awkwardly stepped to the side. "What is this? Some street prank show? I have to go home and cook for my dad. Can you guys prank someone else?" Mrs. Yu gasped, as if she had heard something horrifying. "You have to cook at home? Oh, my poor daughter. What kind of miserable life have you been living?" Lu Ziyu, who had been keeping polite, darkened her expression upon hearing this. Before she could lose her temper, the little princess-like girl stepped forward. Wiping her tears, she sobbed and bowed to Lu Ziyu. I'm sorry. I've taken your place all these years. But Mom and Dad have spoiled me for so long. I really don't want to leave them. Can you please not drive me away? As long as you don't kick me out, I'll be your servant. Don't say that. She's the Shu family's daughter, lost for 16 years. Their first meeting is this sloppy. No matter what, they shouldn't do this at the school gates, where everyone is watching. And they actually let the fake Heiress put on a pitiful apology act in public. Do they not consider Lu Ziyu's feelings at all? The system noticed my urge to intervene. It warned, "Don't go over there. Once she goes home, you'll get your money." I clenched my fists, suppressing my anger, when another voice rang out. "Mingzhu, you don't have to be so humble." The boy protectively wrapped his arm around Zhu Mingzhu's shoulder, then blocked Lu Ziyu's path. "Ah, is this how you treat your family?" I guessed he wanted to look down on Lu Ziyu, but Lu Ziyu had been eating too well these past years, and grew to be just as tall as him. He could only try to overpower her with his aura. "Mom and Dad have looked for you for years. Do you have any conscience or manners? Mingzhu is crying and apologizing to you, and you don't even react. Are you cold-blooded?" Lu Ziyu couldn't take it anymore. She took a deep breath and yelled toward the security booth. "Security uncle, someone is harassing me." Lu Ziyu had a great personality and high emotional intelligence. Whether it was teachers, classmates, the cafeteria, ladies, or the security guards, everyone loved her. At her command, the guards watching the commotion immediately rushed over waving their steel forks. "Back up, back up, back up." Ha ha ha. The pampered Shu family had never been treated like this before. They stumbled over their explanations as they backed away. Lu Ziyu took advantage of the chaos to slip past them. She quickly scanned the crowd, locked onto my position, and like a lively little bird, skipped happily toward me. Seeing the sausage skewers in my hand, she gave a look of utter exasperation. "Nonsense. I made these myself." Lu Ziyu narrowed her eyes, inspecting the sausages closely. She looked certain. "You bought these outside. The ones you fry always have a little burnt spot. Keep your voice down. It's not something to be proud of. Here, it's junk food. But I brought you one anyway. Thanks, Dad." I grabbed her hand and hurried home without looking back. I didn't dare look back. It felt like if I did, the Sue family would catch up to us. On the way, I asked her how her day was. "I had a great day today. For the final parent-teacher meeting, I have a surprise for you." She paused, looking a bit troubled. "But after school, I ran into a family of psychos at the gate. They insisted my name was Shu Anan. I've heard of the Shu Group, but how could I be their daughter?" My heart tightened. I probed, "What if you really are?" Lu Ziyu suddenly stopped walking. Under my nervous and anxious gaze, she answered seriously, "If they really are my family, then I'll definitely send them to the best psychiatric hospital for treatment." I burst out laughing. After a while, I still couldn't help but say, "But they're very rich." Lu Ziyu nodded solemnly. "Exactly. I'll send them for treatment and then donate their money to people who actually need it. With their mental state, could they even spend it properly? Better let someone else spend it for them." I nodded in deep agreement. "Daughter, you're a visionary." Lu Ziyu smirked. "Dad taught me well." We chatted like this, laughing all the way home. But just as I finished making dinner, uninvited guests knocked on the door. I didn't even have to guess. The Shu family had found us. I knew this day would come sooner or later. I was about to get up, but Lu Ziyu stood up first. Her tone was calm. "Dad, I'll get the door." The family of 4 stood neatly outside the door. Afraid she would shut the door, Mrs. Shu hurriedly pulled out her birth certificate and grabbed her hand, crying, "Anan, it was all a misunderstanding earlier. I really am your biological mother." Lu Ziyu looked back at me. I averted my gaze. "Then come in and talk." Lu Ziyu lowered her eyes and stepped aside to let them in. After the farce earlier, the 4 of them were a bit more distant, but also much more normal. "This is your brother, Shu Lingtian. He's 3 years older than you." Mrs. Shu introduced her family. "This is Shu Mingzhu. She was born an hour after you. Back then, the nanny and I gave birth in the same hospital. She secretly swapped our babies and then threw you away. Not long ago, we found out Juju wasn't my biological daughter. We immediately used all our connections to investigate and only got news of you yesterday. Mom never imagined you were living like this." Mrs. Shu looked at the apartment's decor, her crying tone laced with unconcealed disgust. How can anyone live in a place like this? Lu Ziyu's face turned cold. Why can't they? In Lu Ziyu's heart, this home was something she and I had put together piece by piece. In the summer, we'd sit in front of the second-hand AC, eating watermelon and enjoying the breeze. In the winter, we'd hold hot water bottles and squeeze onto the old sofa to watch TV together. Anne, what kind of tone is that? Xu Jiming lost his patience, especially since Lu Ziyu had disrespected him, her father, twice in a row. So disrespectful and unruly. You're nothing like a member of the Shu family. He slammed the table, glaring at Lu Ziyu with furrowed brows. Enough nonsense. You're coming back with us right now. Xu Mingzhu quickly rubbed Xu Jiming's back. Dad, please don't be angry. We need to give sister some time to pack her bags. What does this dump have that's worth packing? Xu Mingzhu looked at Lu Zhu again, her voice soft and sweet. Hurry and apologize to Dad. Dad has a bad heart. Don't make him mad. Mom and Dad really want you to come home. We prepared so many gifts. Jewelry, haute couture dress. I picked them all out myself. Xu Lingtian chimed in from the side. Mom, Dad, and Mingxu worked so hard to prepare 16 birthday gifts for you. Looking at it now, their efforts were completely wasted. Lu Ziyu sat to the side and let out a scoff. I see your family is quite harmonious, singing the same tune. It doesn't seem like you're missing me. My dad and I are doing just fine. No need for you to worry. Please leave. This isn't up to you. Since you are of Shu family blood, we can't let you wander outside. The Shu family can afford to raise Mingzhu, and we can afford to raise you. As for your adoptive father, they finally deigned to spare me a glance. Xu Jiming's tone carried a hint of threat. We won't mistreat you. Mrs. Shu pulled a card from her bag, placed it on the table, and slid it toward me. This is your compensation. There's 10 million in here. Thank you for raising her. Her eyes didn't hold much gratitude, more of a business-like detachment, even a trace of disdain. I could tell she wasn't satisfied with the Lu Ziyu I had raised. She preferred a well-behaved, sensible, sweet-talking daughter like Xu Mingzhu, but in my eyes, my Ziyu was the best kid in the world. I clenched my fists, about to lash out, when the system's voice rang out. Host, don't be stupid. Those are her real parents. Besides, you raised her for 16 years. Wasn't it all for this day? Once the true heiress returns home, the system will give you another sum of money. Isn't this what you wanted from the start? I bit my lip. This was indeed what I wanted at the beginning. But after all these years, Lu Ziyu had become a part of my life. I couldn't let her go, just like I couldn't give up my own life. The moment I looked up, met Lu Ziyu's ace. She was looking at me quietly, waiting for my answer. Those eyes were like a pair of obsidian stones, calm but full of strength. That was the result of my 16 years of blood and sweat, 16 years of love, carved out bit by bit. I didn't want to give up. Under everyone's gaze, I opened my mouth, but the system warned me again. Host, have you considered this from the child's perspective? The Shu family is wealthy and powerful. If she goes home, she'll have whatever she wants. With you, she can only live in a rented apartment, wear cheap clothes, and still have to cook and clean for you, shouldering such heavy burdens at a young age. Back at the Shu family, not only will she never worry about rent, or not having money for extracurriculars, she'll have people waiting on her hand and foot. Are you really going to let your own selfishness make her suffer with you? I froze. Every word the system said made sense. But the moment I looked at Jiyu, the past 16 years flashed before my eyes. I couldn't help but argue back in my mind. But they aren't good to Jiyu. They just met her today, and the whole family is already busy trying to put a 16-year-old girl in her place. I want Jiyu to go home to enjoy life, not just change locations to suffer more. I tried to convince myself, if I let Jiyu choose, she'd definitely choose to stay with me. She's only 16 right now. How could she know the importance of money and power? But you're an adult. You should know this is just a path she must take. She's the true heiress. She needs to wash away the dirt and earn everyone's love through her actions. After the hardship comes a lifetime of happiness. Do you want her to suffer long-term or short-term? I fell silent. I couldn't find an excuse to refute the system. Lu Xu relied on me, because for 16 years, I was the only family she could depend on. What I had truly given her was so very little, and the Shu family's bad attitude toward her must be because they didn't know Jiyu yet. Once they spent enough time with her, they would definitely be like me, believing Jiyu is the best girl in the world. Under Lu Ziyu's gaze, I reached out and silently picked up the bank card. Mrs. Shu was very satisfied with my tactfulness. She then looked at Jiyu, as if saying, he doesn't want you anymore. You have nowhere else to go. I didn't know how to explain it to Lu Ziyu, so I just kept my head down. But like I said, Jiyu was a sensible, good kid. She guessed my choice without asking a single question. She stood up, quietly went to her room, and packed her bags. 5 minutes later, she walked out wearing her newly bought backpack. She took almost nothing with her. Seeing her so decisive and obedient, the Shu couple's expression softened a bit. Mrs. Shu took Xiyu's hand. Let's go. Xu Mingzhu seemed surprised that Lu Ziyu was going home so easily. Sister, it's so great that you can let go of the past. She glanced at me, pretending to speak casually. But uncle raised you for 16 years. Aren't you going to say goodbye to him? Lu Ziyu didn't say a word, but I regretted it. Memories flooded my mind again, making me step forward uncontrollably. The system screamed in my head, "Don't go over there. Let her go home. Even if you want her to stay, do you have the ability to? The Shu family could crush you with a flick of a finger. This is wrong." I screamed back in my mind. I do think she should go back, but I can't make the choice for her. I haven't even asked her what she wants to choose. I grabbed Lu Ziyu's wrist, held up the bank card, and looked nervously into her eyes. "Ziyu, I haven't asked you yet. Do you want to go? If you don't want to, Dad won't take anything. Even if the Shu family takes me to court, I don't care. I know. Ziyu definitely doesn't want to go." Her eyes are clearly filled with reluctance. But under everyone's uneasy gazes, Lu Ziyu shoved the bank card back into my hand and shook her head. "Uncle Lu, is the money not enough?" I froze. Lu Ziyu looked down at me, holding her hand without pulling away, and just repeated, "Is the money not enough?" She then looked at Mrs. Shu. "Mom, Uncle Lu has indeed been very good to me these past years." Mrs. Yu immediately understood, smiled, and pulled out another card, handing it over. "My apologies. I wasn't being thoughtful enough. Here is another 5 million. Take it." I didn't say a word, but my heart grew colder bit by bit. Right. I had taken the money so decisively and let her go earlier. Pulling a stunt like this now? What other reason could there be, besides thinking the money wasn't enough? Seeing my lack of reaction, Jiyu shoved this card into my hand as well. I slowly let go of her hand and forced a smile. "Okay, Jiyu, you have to take care of yourself." Before I even finished speaking, Lu Jiyu had already turned and walked out. I immediately ran to the balcony and watched her get into the car. I finally couldn't hold it in, ran back to my bedroom, and burst into tears. I cried for a whole hour before the system dared to speak. "Host, stop crying. You've completed your mission. I'll give you another 10 million later, and you'll be a first-generation millionaire." "Shut up." I cursed at it through my tears. "Do you really have no feelings at all? Didn't you also watch her grow up bit by bit?" The system fell silent for a moment, as if making a decision, then probed, "If you really miss Jiyu, I can exchange your reward money for a follow cam. From now on, whenever you miss her, you can turn on the camera and watch her." My crying stopped abruptly. I shot up like a carp. "Then I want to see her right now." On the screen, it showed the quiet family in the car. "Uncle Lu called you Jiyu, right? I think Annan sounds better, but if you're not used to it, we can call you Ji. No need. I prefer the name Annan." Mrs. Shu nodded, very satisfied. Seeing this, Shu Mingzhu pursed her lips, then suddenly smiled and spoke up. "Speaking of which, Sister must have seen through Uncle Lu's true nature to be willing to leave. But Sister is really ruthless. Leaving just like that? I really envy Sister's boldness." Lu Ziyu's calm gaze fell on her face. Shu Mingzhu felt creeped out by the stare, but still maintained her smile in front of the family, until Lu Ziyu said mildly, "Yes, I saw through Uncle Lu's true nature, and I also saw that Mom and Dad were sincere about bringing me home." "You're the same, right?" Shu Mingzhu froze. "Same what?" Lu Ziyu explained patiently. "Aren't you the nanny's daughter? You're still living in our house, so it must be because you also saw through your biological mother's vicious nature, and Mom kindly took you in. But the difference between us is, you chose to leave your biological mother, while I chose to return to mine." Lu Zhu leaned gently on Mrs. Shu's shoulder, smiling brightly at Shu Mingzhu. "So you're actually much bolder than me." Watching the scene unfold, I couldn't help but laugh through my tears. "She called you vicious and you're still laughing? Whatever." I wiped my tears, my tone full of pride. "As long as Jiyu doesn't lose the upper hand, so what if I'm vicious?" From that day on, I turned on the camera whenever I had free time. At first, I was worried Jiyu wouldn't be able to protect herself back there and would be bullied by the whole family. But gradually, my doubts vanished. The first week home, Shu Mingzhu cried to Mrs. Shu, accusing Jiyu of stealing. Ziyu didn't say a word, just pulled up the footage from the camera she installed in her room, proving Shu Mingzhu had planted it. A month after coming home, Shu Lingtian complained to Shu Jiming, saying she had messed with his important documents. Zhu silently pulled out her schedule, showing that for the past month, she had been busy assisting Dad the entire time. Shu Lingtian got a harsh scolding from Shu Jiming. After a few rounds of this, the couple grew more and more satisfied with Lu Jiyu. Mrs. Shu even held her hand, saying tenderly, "Those two kids are spoiled rotten. You're the sensible one. It's been hard on you lately." Lu Jiyu shook her head obediently. "It's okay. We're all family. I just hope they stop saying such hurtful things." Mrs. Shu froze. During breakfast that morning, Shu Lingtian and Shu Mingzhu had teamed up to complain, saying Shu Mingzhu had only touched Jiu's raggedy backpack, and Lu Jiyu coldly kicked her out of the room. It's obvious Lu Jiyu doesn't truly want to stay. It would be a lie to say the couple wasn't suspicious, but Lu Jiyu said softly, "I think whether someone is sincere or not shouldn't be judged by what they say, but by what they do." The couple stared at her for a moment. Shu Ziming suddenly asked, "Did that guy named Lu teach you this?" Lu Jiyu didn't deny it. Instead, she nodded openly and admitted it. "Yes, Although Uncle Lou is greedy for money, he taught me a lot of principles. And because of that, I can be a better daughter to mom and dad. I've already let go of the past. I hope brother and sister can let it go soon, too. The couple exchanged a glance, both seeing amazement and appreciation in each other's eyes. On the other side, I silently shed tears. Are you sad because of how she evaluated you? I shook my head, no longer wasting energy explaining to the system. In the following days, Lu Jiu gradually won Zhu Jiming's favor. She learned things very quickly. Whether it was company business or dealing with people, she handled everything flawlessly. Even projects that Xu Lingtian couldn't handle, she picked up quickly. Her status in the Xu family skyrocketed, until a month later, Mrs. Xu suddenly fell ill and needed a blood transfusion. Sharing the same rare blood type, Lu Jiu didn't hesitate to donate blood. On the other end, I cried out of heartache. I secretly bought a bunch of supplements, but didn't know what excuse to use to send them over. I paced around anxiously. Before I could think of a reason, I saw a drama unfold in the hospital room. It started because Xu Lingtian messed up a major partnership. As soon as Xu Lingtian entered the room, Xu Jiming pointed at his nose and called him useless. I've taught you hand in hand for so many years, and you're still worse than Anan, who just started learning the family business. Lu Jiu waved her hands, trying to mediate. Dad, please don't be angry. If brother really can't do it, I can give it a try. That sentence was like pouring oil on a fire. Xu Lingtian exploded instantly. Don't think you're so great. You're just a blood bag. If mom hadn't gotten sick, why would we have ever brought you back? As soon as those words came out, the room went dead silent. Xu Jiming and Mrs. Xu both looked at Lu Jiu in panic. Lu Jiu slowly lowered her head, and under everyone's gaze, she sobbed softly. Ah. Mrs. Xu quickly grabbed her hand, explaining frantically, don't listen to his nonsense. How could mom treat you like a blood bag? I didn't even know I was going to get sick. Mrs. Xu wanted to keep making excuses, but when she met Ziyu's all-knowing, shattered eyes, she couldn't say another word. But what no one expected was, the next second, Lu Jiu held Mrs. Xu's hand and opened it. In Mrs. Xu's palm lay a protective amulet. I knelt before Buddha last night and wove this by hand for a whole day and night. Her voice was gentle, but it struck heavily on everyone's heart. Mom, you don't have to lie to me. Even if you really just treat me as a blood bag, I'm still willing to give you my blood, simply because you are my mom. Mrs. Xu froze, then suddenly hugged Jiu tightly, crying her eyes out. Xu Ziming, standing aside, was also deeply moved, turning away to secretly wipe the tears from his eyes. On the other side, I stared blankly at the scene. Host, this is so touching. Why aren't you crying? I rubbed my eyes. I can't cry, because I recognize the amulet in Mrs. Xu's hand. That was from the year before last when Jiu and I wanted to set up a stall, and we bought amulets wholesale online. 9.9 yuan for 10, free shipping. From then on, Lu Jiu's status in the Xu family soared even higher. Mrs. Xu trusted and doted on her, and Xu Jiming shifted his focus from Xu Lingtian to Lu Jiu completely. Seeing Jiu thriving in the Xu family like a fish in water, I gradually felt relieved. But looking at the empty apartment, I still felt a bit lost sometimes. Soon, it was the end of the semester. Receiving the mass text from the teacher about the parent-teacher meeting, I suddenly remembered the day the Xu family came. Lu Jiu had said that at the final parent-teacher meeting, she had a surprise for me. I went to the school, just to see. The homeroom teacher handed me a time capsule. This was from the beginning of the school year, when every student buried a time capsule. Opening it, inside was a handwritten letter from Lu Jiu. The first line read, Dad, I have a secret. Actually, I know your secret. For the past few years, I could always hear you talking to another voice. I didn't want to tell you at first, because you were always praising me in your heart, and I loved hearing it. I don't care what my real identity is. I just know that Dad won't abandon me, and that's enough. But recently, I noticed someone secretly following me. I don't think I can stay by Dad's side much longer, but please believe me, Dad, I will definitely find my way back, just like how you found me back then. I was completely stunned. She actually knew about my existence. Wait, why is the plot still progressing? This question was quickly answered. The news reported that the Xu family was facing an economic crisis. At the critical moment, the Xu family's 6-year-old heiress stepped in and turned the tide. At that moment, the system and I both understood the reason behind Lu Jiu's actions. Leaving back then was a last resort. Now, finally, no one could control her anymore. Just then, I received a call from Lu Jiu. Dad, I want to come home. Can you come pick me up? I hopped on my electric scooter and sped toward the villa district, crying and laughing the whole way. The system didn't stop me either, and even guided me through a route with all green lights. From a distance, I saw Lu Jiu standing by the road with her suitcase. Mrs. Xu and Xu Jiming were blocking her, refusing to let her leave. Anne, if you leave, what will happen to the Xu family? Xu Ziming had dark circles under his eyes. He clearly knew by now that all of this was Lu Jiu's doing, but at this moment, he could only humbly beg Lu Jiu not to let the Xu family's business be destroyed. Mrs. Xu also grabbed her hand, trembling. Anne, I don't need your blood anymore. Can't you just stay? and a company mom for the rest of my time? Xu Lingtian and Xu Mingxu stood to the side, their faces turning pale, then green. Lu Ziyu saw me, and her dark eyes instantly lit up. I pushed through the crowd, grabbed her hand, and started walking. Stop right there. Mrs. Xu screamed, "She is my daughter. You can't take her away." I stopped in my tracks, turned back to look at her. "She's your daughter? Then let me ask you, where did you lose her?" Mrs. Xu stared at me intensely. "By the dumpster in the alley behind the hospital." "Was it the recyclable or non-recyclable bin?" Mrs. Xu froze, instinctively answering, "It should be recyclable." "Wrong. It's non-recyclable." I squeezed Lu Zhu's hand tightly. "Then this isn't what you threw away." Madame Xu quickly corrected herself. "Then it should be non-recyclable." I remembered wrong. I nodded. "As long as you know it's non-recyclable." 16 years ago, by a trash can, I picked up a dust-covered gem. She was on her last breath, her cries faint. I took her to the hospital for a checkup. The doctor said she had a rare, genetic disease, and her chances of survival were very low, but I managed to raise her and keep her alive. This gem was washed clean of its dust, and now everyone can see her dazzling brilliance. Even the owner who originally threw her away came looking for her, but I've always known she doesn't belong to anyone. Even though I was the one who saved her in the beginning, I would never mount her onto any piece of jewelry. She deserves to shine freely on her own. Jiu and I went home. I bought this little house. I replaced the creaky wooden floors in the living room and repainted the walls. But I didn't touch Ziu's room. Everything was exactly as she left it. "Could you really hear my conversations with the system?" Lu Jiu nodded. My face flushed red. "Doesn't that mean all my daily dramatic inner monologues were heard loud and clear?" Lu Ziu smiled. "I only started hearing them in the last few years. When you got really emotional, Dad, I could hear it a bit more clearly, especially on that day when the Shu family came to take me back. I heard all your inner struggles. I was almost convinced by the system that day. What the system said made a lot of sense, but it was wrong about one thing. Even though I'm only 16, I know the importance of money and power, and precisely because I know, I won't let them become an obstacle between me and you, Dad." I hugged Lu Jiu tightly. My daughter was far more incredible than I ever imagined. She truly is the best kid in the world. Later on, Lu Jiu got into the best finance program in the country. She moved near the campus. She went to classes during the day and came back to manage the company at night. The people of the Shu family were all as obedient as quails. Not long after, Madame Shu's illness relapsed. But this time, she didn't ask Lu Jiu for a blood transfusion. Instead, she asked to see Jiu. On her deathbed, she looked Lu Jiu up and down repeatedly. "If I had known you were this wonderful, I shouldn't have thrown you away back then. I really thought you wouldn't survive. Ann, do you hate me?" Lu Jiu shook her head. "You gave me life and allowed me to meet my dad." Madame Shu froze for a moment, then let out a relieved smile. "Jiu, that name really suits you." After Jiu graduated, she gradually expanded and strengthened the Shu family's enterprise. Yet, at the company's absolute peak, she donated half of her shares. She smiled and said to me, "We can't spend it all in this lifetime anyway. Might as well let others spend some of it for us." In our free time, we traveled the world. When things were busy, she worked overtime at the company, and I sold starch sausages downstairs. $2 a pop, fair prices for everyone. Every day, I'd save one for her. We'd chat and eat on our way home. Occasionally, I'd think about the system. After all, for a full 16 years, it watched Jiu grow up alongside me. But ever since Jiu came home, the system disappeared. Until a few years later, the system suddenly appeared in my dream. "Hey, transfer some money to this card for me. Did you switch to scamming? It's all your fault. You and Jiu altered my system code. I couldn't hold back and bound myself to an orphanage director. Now he's out of money, and the kids are still waiting to eat." I looked at it, full of curiosity. "How did Jiu and I alter you?" The system was vague with its words. Under my relentless questioning, it finally threw its operational rules at me. It said the last rule appeared out of nowhere. 1. Ensure the host develops and grows according to their character setting. 2. Do not take actions outside the scope of the plot. 10. When love appears, the above can be completely ignored, because love is the highest priority.